Good morning. Hello. If you're watching this, then you are seeing your host. I'm Malcolm Nance, and this is the Black Man Spy podcast. And today, being day 95 by our count, because I think we started this podcast before the war, day 95 of the U.S.-Iran war. Yesterday was the Milli Vanilli cast. Today it is the mines cast because mines have been found in the Persian Gulf. We will get to that. But first, let me introduce my co-host for today. Jacob Carsbo is not with us. He is having a life. And we are just two losers who obviously have nothing to do between 9 and 10 in the morning every day. I'm not getting my running in, but it's cold and rainy here in Montreal, Canada. Wajeeh, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Actually wake up at 6:30 for this show. So
Bro, I don't even want to hear it. I get up to
you,
3:30 every morning and I get
I've
on to start
never heard anyone from the intelligence agency that has not been waking up at 3 a.m. You guys are a different species.
5:30. We got to be at the shop at 5:30 for the day watch. Jesus Christ. And guess what? Back in the oldie days, there wasn't a Dunkin' Donuts open 24/7. There was nothing open 24/7. Starbucks was a figment of our imaginations. That being said, Watch, what kind of coffee cup are you rocking today?
Local made.
Local Meg. I like them. I like those handmade cups. As you know, when I was last here, I started with my Canada cup. But since coming back from that Britain cup, I am still using the grommet cup. Cheese grommet from Wallace and Gromit.
What is what is the I can't do it because I my hand is broken.
Yeah, it's when Wallace gets around cheese. All right. He
Exactly.
gets the shakes. They had a Wallace mug, but I thought, man, that's going way over the top. I mean, that's going way over the top. So our our gifts from England turned out to be Paddington Bear for you, which is appropriate for you because Paddington was indeed a illegal immigrant refugee bear like you. Uh, only he was from Peru, and I find it quite amazing, the dialect of English accent that he has, which is a London dialect, for a guy who is a native Spanish speaker. Well, actually, native Spanish speaker, but one of his relatives was from England. I can't remember which one it was. His mother's side, a a Brit on the paternal side or the maternal side. All I can
I
say
have to
is
go
this:
watch it again.
the books are cute. But the movie, the first movie, Paddington Bear, was actually not bad. It was actually pretty good. Do not watch any others. Okay, they all suck beyond all belief. And most of the time when they make these kids movies, really for adults. A lot of them are for adults. I mean, if you watch the, you know, some of the ones that come for like minions and all the rest of these things, chock full of loaded with adult jokes, right? Paddington Bear, only one or two. Wait, the TV and the movie came from the Wombats. Okay, thank you. Clear it up. Somebody says they got their Paddington books. So, hello from California, Linus. Shrek, another great series of movies,
Mm.
came from there. Even Sesame Street. That's right. Tamar Kranick is pointing out to that. Yes, Sesame Street was great. And I grew up on Sesame Street, I'll tell you. Uh, so that being said, this is Sunday morning. It is a relatively slow day. We actually want to try to get up. Wait, what is this about? He lived in Derbyshire? Derbyshire. Fractured Fairy Tales from the 60s was very adult oriented. Yes, it was. Oh no, it's Good Morning from Derbyshire. Fiona Goodwin. Hey, Fiona, you'll have a long, long, long time ago, I dated someone from Derby, in England, and which is funny because outside of Philadelphia is an area called Upper Darby, right? And two entirely different worlds. I went up to Derby, England in winter, and I had the single coldest day of my life. And I've been to Greenland and and I've been in the Arctic Circle. Derby was so cold because it has rain. It has that moisture cold that gets through your bones and freezes you to the bone. It is also the place that I had my first English breakfast, and I used the words, "What the hell is all of this?" to the lady at the Airbnb. And if you don't know what an English breakfast is, I mean, you guys got to travel more, right? An English breakfast is eggs, whatever your style of eggs are, right? Two giant effing pork sausages, a giant rash of ham, a two roundels of what's called black pudding, right? That's a sausage
Okay.
made out of blood, which is
Mhm.
actually very spicy. I actually like black pudding now. What else am I missing? Eggs, ham, sausage, black pudding, uh, baked
Beans
beans, and a shite load of toast. It is literally
and
a
a
heart attack
tomato
on a table.
and a whole tomato for some reason.
Oh, yeah,
A
yeah, yeah,
whole
yeah. No, no. A whole tomato cut in half, grilled, and then put on your plate so that you get that, right? It was a heart attack on a plate. I just find that fascinating because I was still in the military and I was like, "What the hell?" Somebody says, "No Yorkshire pudding, no." And no spam, although when I do my English, um, you guys know I do a tour, in Egypt, the history of the SAS, Long Range Desert Group. Now this year, the Special Operations Executive and Popsky's Private Army, right? These are these North African intelligence and commando groups. And what's funny is I bring spam with me because you cannot buy actual spam, which is pork made in Egypt, right? You can buy like a beef substitute, a corned beef hash, things like that. So we bring corned beef hash and we bring spam and we actually fry it up. Look, somebody goes, English fry ups are the best. We fry this stuff up for your your special operations executive long range desert groups SAS breakfast, which is what they had in Libya and Egypt when they were doing operations. So yes, spam is near and dear to my heart, and I smuggle in like 10 cans of spam every year. And the regular spam. I'm a big fan of teriyaki spam. Okay, wow. Well, with that being said, somebody from Derby set all of that off. Now, shoulder pork and ham spam. Uh, and spam was invented back in the 30s and was used extensively in World War II. Wow, Waj, we don't actually have a lot of activity. What we have is a lot of news and information. I have a full page end to end, and what I want to do is I want to play some of it. Most of today's activity, believe it or not, is energy and military associated. So some of the things that we are seeing, and I know I says I have a low battery here on my laptop, but some of the activities that we are seeing in the Arabian Gulf are related to oil, which is the big thing. So, can you bring up oil for us, please?
You got it. It hasn't changed much since yesterday. It's actually about the same.
Ah,
But I do have it pulled up here. If you give me 1 second.
hmm funny, funny ho ho. There it is. Actually, you can see it better with the light. Okay, oil, WTI, $87. Man, and we're getting back to the old days. Brent crude 91. Thank you, Wajeeh. Those are prices we saw at the beginning of the war when it jumped from like $67. It went up to 87. So we're getting to those numbers at the beginning of the war. You guys will have to forgive me about the reflection on this chart, but I wanted to show you this chart. This chart is global onshore crude oil inventories minus China in the world. This is oil that is in reserves in the world right now. And this is year to year, but this yellow chart is almost the same as the one we saw yesterday, which goes like that. And it is only going down and down and down and down. There has never been a period where we had inventories crashing. This is what we were saying by the CEO of Chevron yesterday, saying that the world's oil inventories are going to get very bad. And don't believe me. Why should you believe me when you can actually hear it from the CEO of Chevron? I will bring that up now. And give me a moment. A lot of actual oil news, just crazy, crazy amounts of oil news. Okay, so this is the CEO of Chevron, Mike Wirth, this discussion talking about physical oil shortages in the world right now. And you're right, Mr. Global is very grim. Mr. Global is a global oil expert who's on Twitter uh, out there, and he is just like, we're screwed. Well, apparently, so is the CEO of Chevron. So listen to this.
Why is crude at 100, at 90, and not closer to 200, given this strait's been shut for 3 months?
It's a little hard to explain. Really, we're seeing markets tighten, inventories draw, demand for the products around the world still very strong. I think there's this belief, and we're experiencing it again the last few days, that the end is near, the conflict is resolved, and flow through the strait will resume very quickly, and that has kept the back end of the curve lower than it might otherwise have been. And I think the psychology of the market has been this is closer to the end rather than the beginning.
The physical world, when will inventories be at the very bottom?
For long. We are steadily drawing inventories down on products, on crude, in locations around the world. I think June and July are going to be critical months, and you can see the trajectory of these inventories in the data, and it's concerning.
Do you see any physical shortages right now around the world?
We do see some in some Asian markets. I mean, we've seen some rationing. We've seen work week suggested, other demand measures imposed in some of the countries in Asia.
Okay. So, again, don't believe me. Believe the senior vice president of Exxon. Believe the CEO of Chevron. Oil inventories are going to hell. They are just disappearing, all of these buffers. And this was one of the things that I have. China has the world's largest oil reserves right now, and they are acting as a buffer between the collapse of these prices. And, Rick Stahlhut asked a good question. Malcolm, would the execs of these big oil companies be honest about all of this? Yes, because this is investor money. And if you're sitting there going, oh, this is awesome, everything's going to be great, and the next day your entire oil inventory collapse, that's not planning. You've got to plan this out. And this puts pressure from big oil onto Trump to stop this effing war, because that's really what this is about. I can only give you intelligence, right? I can only tell you the factors that should impact the operational region out there. Oh, Robert Bender's asking for the chat. There is already a chat up. It's been up for the last couple of hours. Go on Substack. You'll see it there. And it's day 95 Mindcast, because there are mines in the Strait of Hormuz now. We've since confirmed that. Okay. So oil is now the most important factor of what's going on out there. And there was a discussion from Mario Nuafal yesterday. I was on his show, and the guy who was on before me is a blueprint that was published by a major conservative think tank that lays out how Washington is invading these countries and tightening oil inventories in order to cut China off to reduce China's dominance. But China ain't stupid. They're the adults in the room. They started, when this war started, they banned all exports, if you might recall, of any oil or petroleum-based products that weren't already manufactured. Yes, Wajeeh.
It goes before that, Malcolm.
Yes.
China, before this war even started, about a year ago, started hoarding gas like nobody's business.
Uh-huh.
They have billions, not millions. They have billions of oils and billions of oil barrels and reserves that can have them go about 3 to 4 months on full speed
Yep.
with the Chinese economy not having any cuts. But you are absolutely correct. Once they saw that the war was happening, they cut and stopped all Chinese oil sales and made it domestic. And I
When
told everyone that that means that China believes that this war is going to keep going to the point where that they need to save every drop that they have, and they have billions.
Right. And also, China uses its intelligence. There's a reason that they are mass vacuuming U.S. businesses and the U.S. government and creating agents inside there because they believe intelligence and it gives them indications of what's going on. So last year, when we struck Iran, and what did he call it? The 12-day war. He wanted to call all that Operation Midnight Hammer. Iran was like, they're coming back for a second attack. They didn't get anything they wanted this time. The nukes weren't affected. The Americans are coming back. And that's why China thinks strategically. The president of the United States is working with business to go to China and beg. He just went to China and begged. China now understands they have the upper hand globally. And everything that's produced in Walmart, those plastics, is made out of oil. American oil does not work in Chinese refineries. It doesn't. I'm going to show that to you very shortly. But go ahead, by the way, go ahead and hit that heart button down there. We've reached our 1,000 people relatively early. And I want you guys to use the Substack chat. There are two chats. The one chat is Day 95 Minecast, the U.S. Iran Minecast. Post your questions there. There's also another chat where I'm asking people who are physically in the New York City area if they would like to assist me on a mystery hunt to find a photograph of a World War II veteran who was killed in World War II and who was buried in Normandy. And that I'll be down into the city, and that requires us to go on a physical hunt for stuff. So, like, we're trying to track this person's high school, the high school yearbooks. It's all down there. We will talk about that separately because that is an amazing story. And we'll all go to lunch. I'll buy you all lunch or drinks if we have to go that long in New York City. But it's mainly in Harlem. That being said, I'm going to show you now another chart related to the situation with oil. First off, Asian oil refineries. I don't know if you can see that very clearly. I think that we may be getting a glare off that lamp. Asian oil refineries are not designed to handle U.S. oil. There are 4 different types of oil, right? Light and sweet, right? This is the one that can be used for virtually anything. U.S., United Arab Emirates, Nigeria pumps this, and it is mainly exported to Europe, India, and Southeast Asia. Easy to crack, easy to refine, easy to process. Turn it into, any plastic material or gasoline, benzene, all of those things. Then medium sour, right? Medium sour is the standard for most Asian refineries. This oil comes from Saudi Arabia, Iran, Russia, and Oman, right? This oil is principally used by China, South Korea, Japan, and India. All of the countries we have been seeing since the beginning of this war who said that they were in dire straits over oil, especially India, Japan, and South Korea. China, as we said, they had a huge reserves set aside. But this is what their refineries are built for. Right? A medium sour. On the other hand, heavy sour, core feedstock to complex refiners is produced by Iraq, Kuwait, and Saudi Arabia. It's used in China and India. 72% of all Iraq's exports go to India. That's amazing. Guess what? Can't get out of the Strait of Hormuz, right? Finally, extra heavy. This is what they call tar sand, that sort of stuff. Very, very hard to crack. Comes from Canada and Venezuela. That is almost all sent to the United States and is used in the United States. Okay? Asia requires this. Trump is sending this and thinks that he's doing something. All of the refineries, the things that produce gasoline, benzene, kerosene, plastics, other petrochemicals, urea nitrate, all these other offshoots, they require a refinery. These barrels of oils don't just get pumped into the back of your car, right? So that being said, let me just put this on power. And this is why oil is at the top of the charts today. It's all over the news. And I like this chart. This is the stuff that's produced by oil, right? From bathtubs and fixtures, clothing, rubber gloves, protective material for hospitals. Oh, you can't see that very well. Cars, car parts, your kids' Mylar balloons, aluminum cans, microchips, and condoms. All of these are part of the petrochemical refining process, and they are going the way of the world, and rocket parts, things like that. So, Qatar announced its liquid natural gas processes at all refineries will be going offline for 3 to 5 years.
Wow.
Shit's been damaged too much. It's been offline. It's almost as if they have to build new ones. And if I was Qatar, I'd start looking into building that shit underground in concrete bunkers. I mean, it shows the vulnerability of that. Now, here's where you can be cynical about this. The United States is offering with a whole shitload of new liquid natural gas refineries to come online and to provide Europe and other parts of the world with American LNG, which is going to I am damn certain there will not be a Trump Tower Doha, Qatar. I mean, the gas, it's very, very difficult when Trump just cost you 20% of the world's LNG.
I wonder if he's going to even receive the plane.
Oh, the plane's already in the United States.
Oh,
It's already being cleaned and debugged or doing whatever. But no, there won't be a Trump Tower in Doha, Qatar. So we showed the global onshore crude chart. Okay, the Asian refining chart. Oh, Iran's South Paris oil platforms, which were struck by Israel, are now back online. 3 of them. The actual refiner, I'm not sure part of that was damaged, and we'll see whether they come back online. Next, Strait of Hormuz. The newest news in the Strait of Hormuz, besides the fact that Oman has confirmed their suspicions that the Strait of Hormuz is mined. There is video, which I will show you right now. It's hard to see, but you'll get the drift. This is a video of fishermen in Musandam Peninsula, Oman. And I will freeze this at the appropriate time. There is an object in the water. What is that? It's funny. Muhammad, go closer. Oh,
Oh. Yeah, Allah.
that is a Maham 3 influence mine. I will get a little closer. You can count 5 horns. This is where the detonating material is put in. It's an access hatch. It is not on a chain, it's floating in the water. My favorite part about the internet is as soon as I put up a warning yesterday, mines, I put that out on Substack too. Of course, we have some expert, XPURT, expert, come right out and go, NBC News says that they've confirmed there's no mines in the Persian Gulf. And it's like, that's 250 kilograms of explosive material. So who are you going to believe? A 2-day-old NBC report or this mine they found yesterday? I'm going to go with visual detection of a mine. The Omani Navy has put out a warning that they have detected this device. They are going to go neutralize it, and that ships on the southern side of the Musandam Peninsula, which is where they've been sneaking through. I'm going to show you that chart here in a moment. Ships here on the southern side of the Musandam Peninsula have been getting through, but even though they've been getting through, hold on, I'm bringing an image up. There you go. Even though they've been getting through the Musandam Peninsula, these craft are still subject to mines being there. This is the old traffic separation scheme right down the middle. The warning has been placed for this area here below the traffic separation scheme, which we were calling the American entry and exit scheme. Up here is the Iranian multipass scheme. The United States. Now, Malcolm, could there be anything worse than finding mines down here? Yes, there can be things that are worse. U.S. Central Command announced yesterday, right after we left this show, that the Iranians and everybody needs to beware that there will be extensive military activity in the center of the Strait of Hormuz, and that any force that comes out to oppose them will be engaged and fought, and that anyone who is seen mining in that area will be attacked defensively, which is a very interesting way to put it. Yes, Bud. Are you just stretching from all
No,
the bullshit?
I wanna add another verse to your poem. Another thing that's even worse. Iran has what's so called as mini submarines that are dieseled power,
Couple
and
of them.
a few of them, yes. And the scary part about them is these submarines are so small they're in the size of a school bus, and they lay at the bottom of the ocean floor in the Persian Gulf, which is not very deep. But the scary thing is that our ships have very hard time detecting them. And the few explanation of how have we been seeing so many attacks from within the Persian Gulf come out is one of the explanation is these diesel submarine would come out and make a quick attack and then hide back again.
Hmm.
What do you make of that? You you
Well, most of
have way
those
more
submarines,
experience on that than I do.
were sunk. Yes, I've actually been a submarine. I'm a submariner, um, and they are just like the Japanese midget subs of World War II. They actually have some that are smaller. They're 2 or 3 man crews. Most of them were sunk, but some were in the caves. Right? So we would have to see them roll them out, drop them in the water. I just think it's easier to bring a dhow over there and drop a chain and drop an anchor and destroy cables or to get out. You guys recall very early on in the war, I said the number one mine layer in the Persian Gulf was not high speed boats, it was a dhow.
Mhm.
Right? It was a dhow that just comes out there and drops the mines over the side or has a clandestine hatch on the side. And it's a dhow that goes out every day. The IRGC runs these DAOs, and even though on day 1 through 500, it's just 6 guys, on day 501, it's going to be 6 guys plus a shitload of mines and one IRGC guy to make sure that they go in there. So that is what's happening now. We have confirmed, I have confirmed that there's a mine. We have a lot of internet experts out there saying, what do you know about them? I hit one of them and it was unhealthy. Then in Desert Storm, I went ashore to document the ones that have been cut off the chains as war crimes. Then I was assigned to Explosive Ordnance Disposal Mobile Group 6 to track those mines, of which we found hundreds in there. So know a little something about the mine. Oh, yeah, and I was in an Iranian minefield right after a U.S. ship hit a mine and had to tow it out of that minefield thinking we were going to hit a mine. It's just unhealthy. So I got a lot of lived experience in mines. Next, Muscat, Oman is going all in on the Persian Gulf. What do they call it? Persian Gulf Straits Authority. Oh, Muscat has informed the United States that the Straits navigation and whatever's charged for it is a matter between Iran and Oman. So that $80 billion a year, that's money, right? That's real money. And the Omanis are now finding a taste of it. Yes, the Muscat multipass, Derek M. calls it. Muscat multipass. Oh, okay. Yeah, good one. Good one. I've got a couple of good lines out of this, out of our comments from our followers. We have some very clever people here. Okay, so Muscat is in. Donald Trump is big mad about that. But let's go through the rest of the military operations. U.S. Navy mining. We found that the ballistic missile that was fired at Ali El Salam Air Base 3 days ago was a Fatah 110 short-range battlefield ballistic missile, which penetrated air defense. They said it was hit, but it must have been hit at the last minute. The missile fell, blew up, damaged and or destroyed 2 MQ-9 Reaper drones and wounded 5 servicemen. We're getting little trickle bits of that story out. Next, we're going to find out somebody died. Linda White, yes, we have a chat. For those who are asking, go on to the chat, look up Day 95 Minecast. Post your questions there. I've been answering questions since 6 a.m. on that. Okay, what else am I expecting here? Minesweeping operations. Oh, yeah. The U.S. Navy announcing these operations up here, which are unspecified, are very clearly minesweeping operations. Trump mentioned that they were using drones. I suspect we will run 3 large U.S. warships in there, maybe as many as 5, to start doing minesweeping. We could, as I said on Mario Nawfal's show yesterday, we could be headed for the biggest naval battle in the Strait of Hormuz if the Iranians really want to throw down on this one, or they could leave it ceasefire-ish. But the U.S. Navy is attempting, at Trump's orders, to de facto open the Strait of Hormuz by declaring there are no mines. Yeah, well, that would have worked the day before yesterday. We know there's at least 1 mine down there, and they've got to go get it and clear it. And where there's 1, it's like cockroaches, there's 500. So, and if I'm not mistaken, didn't the U.S. Navy blow up a couple of boats the other day that were supposedly dropping mines in the water? Halas, there you have it.
I think the U.S. Has been notorious for just bombing boats in the last year. So,
Yeah. And Rob Bender says Trump has threatened Oman over there joining Multipass. Yeah. And now Oman's like, now, okay, thanks for that 230-year peace treaty we've had with the United States, and you literally threaten us with destruction. Maybe we'll just take that sweet, sweet money. All right? This is a form of geopolitics I don't understand. Iran has confirmed they have shot down an MQ-1 Reaper drone. That is the first variant U.S. Air Force stopped using that a long time ago. It's likely from the United Arab Emirates. It was flying over Kishem Island. So that's it on the warfare front. It's a lot of shooting for a ceasefire, but hey. Iran deal is the last thing we're going to talk about. Then we're going to go quickly to questions. We're going to get you out of here 15 minutes early because it's Sunday. Trump wants changes. Does not like the deal that his negotiators came up with, according to the New York Times and Axios. He wants no money to be transferred to Oman, even though the Qataris just went there and promised them $12 billion. So he just screwed Qatar again. He is insisting on the turnover of the nuclear material to the United States. And as we heard yesterday, where he said only America has the capability to dig out that nuclear material along with China. Bro, how do you think that stuff got down into giant deep caves under a 500-meter deep mountain? It just
They were able
magically
to
appeared?
dig it. They
Leprechauns with
literally
shovels?
dug the mountain. You don't think they can dig the mountain back up again? Like
No, only America has the equipment. He's been assured. Who are the morons on his staff? He's really got dumb people
Oh
on his
my
staff.
God.
Mr. President, we're the only people in the world with a backhoe and a dump truck. Bob the Builder. What's the name of that digger, that cartoon kid digger comes out there? Iran or Premium Diggers. They used giant boring machines. And if it's been closed, they can use giant tunnel boring machines again. Or they could just put 10,000 guys on it with backhoes, right? Bob the Builder. So anyway, yikes. Bob the Builder is now assigned to U.S. Special Operations Command in the CIA. So that's how it's going to come out. Again, I just want to make a comment because some people think that this podcast is not very serious from time to time. This is precisely the jokes that we make during intelligence briefs, all of us, because we have to have a good time because the situation is so serious. But we know serious information when we see it. Next, there will be no tolls on the Strait of Hormuz, and every ship will go in just like it was before. And that way, Trump can prove that he opened the Strait of Hormuz, that he closed. Axios, of course, and the New York Times are both reporting Trump's number one consideration is not the impact that it has on oil or the American public or the world. It's that he does not want a deal that is equal to or worse than Barack Obama's.
Mm-hmm.
When the black guy did it. There's an actual song that somebody wrote says that, right? Ooh. Yeah, because what did they say, right? What's the offensive part of the JCPOA? Obama's signature. Trump is definitely getting a worse deal, which is why he wants these. Somebody says, I have to show the dogs again. They're cute. It's someday. It's why he wants this whole, the uranium must be turned over to America. He wants to say he eliminated the Iranian nuclear threat physically, and he got something Obama didn't get, except that Obama got 200 tons of yellow cake and other materials brought out to Russia, melted down, and what remained was 3.67% enriched. As soon as he tore that deal up, Trump forced them to enrich that uranium to 60% near bomb grade. He just cannot put up with it. So I suspect that he would rather the global economy collapse than to be seen as the loser that he is. So I don't think it. No, Lynette, you did not miss the dogs. You didn't show any dogs. Someone just got nostalgic for my dogs. Okay, that being said, that is the major news. Wajeeh, do you have any major news stories?
No, but I was about to say at least Obama's signature doesn't look like pubic hairs.
Yeah. Literally, like just ask Jeffrey Epstein if you want spitting facts, right? There is one little bit of news. This ship, HMS Lime Bay, which is a British Navy Royal Auxiliary, is headed to the Persian Gulf to act as a mothership for when the war ends. It will probably be stationed in Muscat, Oman, or Corfacon. When the war ends, it will use remote drones to help with the minesweeping, and multiple other nations are going to come down and do minesweeping. They are not going to do it so long as the name Donald J. Trump is associated with it. So that really is the news. Let's go to questions, shall we? Ooh, let's. Okay. No, that's not it. Bump, bump. So, Wajeeh, do you have anything you'd like to ask? Here are the questions. 23. I've answered many questions since 6 a.m. I was on there early, getting your
The
questions answered.
the question that is on a lot of people's minds is, do you have any update about the current situation of U.S. soldiers on Navy ships around the Gulf War?
Yeah, I am dead. I do have something about that. I find it fascinating. Turns out Pete Hegseth wasn't in Sasebo, Japan with the USS Boxer. The Boxer Amphibious Readiness Group has moved to Singapore, which I may point out to you is still 2 weeks hard steaming to get to the Indian Ocean. But you notice they were ashore in Singapore, down at Raffles, the long bar, having Singapore slings, the original Singapore sling. While the poor sailors and Marines on the USS Tripoli have been stuck up there for 4 months with no port visits. And maybe the promise of the Boxer getting up there someday. Boxer should have been there 2 months ago. Remember when we started tracking that April 1st? April 1st, the Boxer should have arrived there. Yeah. Oh, those guys on Tripoli gotta be big mad. I'd be fucking big mad. This is where you get grumbles, right? This is where the lint in the laundry machine, in the dryer in the ship's laundry catches fire, right? Somebody takes that out and they just set fire to it. Get your attention. As a chief, you'd have to work extra hard to make sure that everybody is too busy working to pay any attention to that. And of course, cut off the internet so they can't see Pete Hegseth pixie dancing with the Marines in Singapore. And you know these guys are like, Singapore? I'd like to be in Singapore. Well, Singapore's a happening town. I don't know if you know it. It is the Dubai of Asia. It has got buku money. And Chinese billionaires practically bought the place. There are bars and restaurants everywhere. In case you guys haven't seen it, there is a video of Pete Hegseth supposedly doing physical training with these Marines. And he is
Look at those.
he is pixie dancing. That's not him. You will know it's Pete Hegseth when you
the
see
one
him.
all the way in the front.
These guys are doing crossovers, right? They're just moving laterally by crossing one ankle over the other. Okay. Is there no senior enlisted on there who'll be like, Mr. Secretary, the fuck you doing? We aren't tiptoeing through the tulips here, Mr. I Am War.
The fact that he's in the
All
front,
you gotta
that's
do
like-
is cross one ankle over the other and go laterally, bitch.
it's not like he could see he's doing the wrong steps because he's all the way in the front. He can't see behind him.
Motherfuckers just laughing hard. There's gotta be chiefs and gunnery sergeants walking around everywhere slapping guys. Slapping them, going, shut up. Don't laugh. Don't laugh while he's here.
Well,
And then as soon as he leaves the
room.
room, yeah, thank you there, super soldiers, for Marines, for helping out with my PT today, my PT routine. He gets in there, that waterproof door closes, and boom, everybody bursts into laughter, right? They would all be, the joke would be, yeah, we did ballet with the Secretary of War. Man, oh, war. Okay, next question. Submarine question. Are there any books you recommend about how to learn about techniques used for people working long-term jobs on submarines to instruct them to get along with each other and de-escalate conflict? Well, no, there are no
No.
books on that. I already told you what it is. On every submarine, there is a chief of the boat. If you know someone that's going into submarines, here's how it is. And the best chief of the boat talk I ever heard was from a huge 6'4" redheaded chief of the boat of the USS Bluefish. And he had to do an equal opportunity speech with a black guy and a white guy. And he goes, "You're a black guy. You're a white guy. If I hear there's any trouble between the two of you that involves your color, I'll squish you like a bug. Now get the fuck out of here." I was like, that's the best speech I ever heard. That's it. Go on your boat. A submarine is like being in the office and your bed. The office, your bed, and a dining table the size of your plate. That's it. That's the only places you're going unless you're getting qualified in boats. Work, bed, food, work, bed, food, shower, work, bed, food, shower, over and over and over again. So there's no conflicts on those cells because we square that shit away right away, right? Could it be useful for increased civilian cooperation in organizing peaceful projects? Well, only if you're working at an AI data center or an Amazon warehouse, because they work exactly the same. Malcolm, do you think there's longer term play regarding why China is holding its oil reserves and Trump is squeezing, controlling oil in other countries? Yes, because the Chinese saw this coming.
Uh-huh.
Chinese,
And
the really adults in the room. They really
there,
are really controlling that country in such a way. Wajeeh.
if China had any certainty in the future of the oil market, they would not be holding their oil back. If China
Mhm.
had any certainty in the Middle East being stable for the next few 6 months, they would not be holding their oil. If China saw that Trump is going to have a way out in this war, they would have not been holding their oil. But the unfortunate truth is we're talking about rational state actors that have been looking after their economic stability for the next decade, not for the next 5 months. We have a Chinese dictator who is not much interested in putting as much money in his own pocket and his
Right.
own self-interest as much as securing China's economic stability. And we have someone in the White House where we make it easier for people in our government to have insider trading, where
Mhm.
we make it easier for corporate greed to take control over our policy making,
Yep.
and the best interests of the American people and the American government get thrown under the table. That is exactly what's happening, and you are the one paying the price for it.
I've been answering questions online while you're doing it, but you're absolutely right. I mean, people say, I actually had somebody come up on another forum say, you get very political. Why don't you just let Trump do what he's doing? He's president of the United States. And it's like all intelligence is political, right? Once it gets to the consumer, and I watch you consume it and fuck it all up, all right? Now it becomes political, okay? Especially when you burn people, you destroy intelligence assets, or worse, you ignore us completely. Then it gets to where we are. And the oligarchy has far more power now on what they put out on Twitter than the entirety of US intelligence. Sorry to say.
There's a person I like to listen to. His name is Philip DeFranco. He always says, "You may not fuck with politics, but politics will always fuck with you."
Yeah. Got a comment from Bahrain. I'm from Bahrain. Do you really think it's full-on war happens, our desalination power plants will be destroyed? I don't think that anymore. I think the Iranians have made their point, and they have also made their point that it is incumbent upon you to place pressure on Washington to make sure that those desalination plants don't get destroyed. I lived in Bahrain. I was assigned to Bahrain many times. Would not like to have to drink out of pallets of water that in the sun are actually breaking down. So, but I don't think the Iranians are going to do it anymore. If that happens, that's because they've destroyed all of Iran's infrastructure, and Iran will be like, we warned you, and they would do that. Carol Ann Connors asked, did we mothball all our minesweepers? No, we have 4 old Minesweeper Avenger class, and then we have 4 of these littoral combat ships that have mine hunting packages on them. 2 of the old ships are now in the Persian Gulf or in the region. So we have some capability. It ain't enough. We need all those ships from Europe to get this thing swept properly and a ceasefire. That being said, making money is almost as good as following the money. Good comment. So I will answer your questions later. I want to get you out 10 minutes in advance. Everybody go up, do something Sunday-ish. Go have, Bloody Marys, Bloody Caesars, walk the dog, do something nice for yourself. We will be back tomorrow, same time. Jacob will be joining us. So put your questions if you have them. Don't go follow Wajeeh, and don't go to his Q&A. Wajeeh, take a day off, bro. I am. But do follow us both.
Just a quick Q&A.
Follow Wajeeh. We need that. And we will talk to you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.
See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.